Congressman mentioned, his father, who suffered a stroke, had a movement disorder. He lost some of the ability for himself to repeat a movement over and over again, like walking. Or in something you can all relate to, golf or tennis, if you want to be good in these sports, you have to do it over and over again. If you want to learn to walk or relearn to walk, you have to walk over and over again. So a therapy was created in the 1990s called manual treadmill training therapy, and that therapy involved two therapists actually taking the individual who was suspended and moving their legs manually. Well, this was really good therapy. It got better, the patient learned to walk sooner, but you can imagine, with cost being the driver right now in healthcare, it's really unaffordable to allocate 2, 3, 4, 5 therapists to an individual patient for longer than 10 or 20 minutes. So we came up with a device called the Locomat. And I
damaged muscles and nerves.
Play a little video.
The Locomat is already being used in physical rehabilitation facilities for spinal cord injuries. Traditional spinal cord rehabilitation focuses on maximizing the use of nerves and muscles that still work. But the Locomat encourages muscles and nerves to regrow by stimulating the brain itself. The Locomat not only treats injuries, it can also improve congenital conditions. Meet Zach. He was born with cerebral palsy, a neurological disorder that affects muscle control, making walking very difficult. His mom drives him an hour and a half every week to use the Locomat to improve his walking.
Does he enjoy it?
Do you mind it too much, Zach? Good.
Its careful control of limbs helps the brain reorganize how it fires neurons, actually stimulating the regrowing of damaged nerves to communicate with the corresponding muscles.
By having your body move through the motions, your brain actually is faced with the challenge of figuring out how to take control of that. Exactly. So you sort of force your brain to catch up.
It's hard work, but the Locomat keeps Zach motivated with a screen that provides real-time biofeedback. So Zach can see how much he's doing and how much assistance the robot provides.
You're doing so good, Zach, today. Alright, let me see you walk. Good job! Oh, Zach! That was awesome!
Good job, Zach. He came in, there's a robot in there that actually really helped him out, and he came out walking better than when he came in. That was like the sweetest thing I've ever seen.
So that person's obviously better at this than I am. So what I will show you is an example, though, in a clinical setting of what a therapist goes through to help a patient. Could be a soldier, could be a stroke survivor, could be a spinal cord injury patient, like this individual. You can see it's a very physically demanding job. And that physical effort on both part of the patient and on part of the therapist really actually has a significant cost to the healthcare system. Now this is that same patient walking in the Locomat. You can see that walking in the Locomat, A, it doesn't require that significant investment of the therapist. B, it's quite physiological. He's walking, he has natural displacement of center of gravity, his arms are moving, and now we've also incorporated virtual reality, so to engage this person to walk for 30, 40, 50 minutes at a time to train intensively, we can actually reproduce the environment within which they will function as they begin to improve in terms of their therapy. So in this particular case history that I showed you, this is after 12 weeks of bodyweight supported treadmill training on the Locomat. You can see that this person, along with conventional therapy, was able to regain a certain amount of function, and now is able to basically return to somewhat normal life. 100 years ago, thank you. 100 years ago or 50 years ago, that person would have been relegated to a wheelchair. So we saw some of the incidents of different neurological injuries. We've seen some of the lifetime costs. They are significant. For example, Zach, as a cerebral palsy, person with cerebral palsy, the average cost per lifetime of that patient is $1 million. So if we could perhaps improve that individual's function, it could potentially reduce the initial hospitalization, because we can take a patient who is in a more acute phase, start training them more intensively, get them out of the hospital earlier. The insurance company, Medicare, Medicaid will save money, and hopefully the most altruistic research. I think we heard from Howie how important it is that we do bridge this gap. I agree with Howie completely. There is a significant gap between big multinational companies, NIH research, and companies like Caucus. Caucus is a 1 in 100,000 company success, being able to go out there and actually market the technology. The Congress should find a way to fund those other little companies, those other little technologies, so that we maintain our leadership in this field. Also, an example of where this has been effective, working with the states. The state of Indiana has recently approved a pilot program to improve Medicare reimbursement for robotic training in cerebral palsy affected children. So we see that this is actually starting to work, but it can only work if the Congress gets behind the initiative and really pushes the initiative and nurtures that initiative. So I want to thank you very much, and please visit our website if you have any questions. And I'd like to turn the panel over to Tandy, and I think we'd be happy to take some questions.
Thank you, Maya, Howie, and Charles, for your presentations. Hopefully what you got out of that is a taste for what these technologies, how we can apply technologies. But I hope that you didn't get so much of a feeling that you felt like we've solved the problem. We're just at the very beginning. As Charles mentioned, that we're kind of at the beginning of this phase, just as when personal computers first came out. We now see robotics in a similar phase. And now is the critical time to decide whether we make investments. We'll take some, if anyone has any questions now for any of the panelists here, we'd be happy to take questions. Yes?
Hi, I'm Amy Prescott, the Assistant Professor of Robotics. And I had a question for Dr. Twisett. What would be the time and the cost of training a doctor to do robotic surgery?
Actually, that's a good question. It's a point I should have stressed. I think the time in robotic surgery training is actually less than what you do with a laparoscope or endoscope. The reason is now there's a microchip between the tool and the user. So you actually are able to use a more intuitive joystick. You design the interface as how you want, not what the current mechanical, not the current mechanical devices we have now. So Alison Nakamura, she's actually an expert on this haptics, so you try to teach about her more. But in our experience with our surgical robot, we've had EP electrophysiologists come into a experiment, never seen the robot before, never touched it, nothing, walked in, and they were actually able to perform half of a box lesion cardiac ablation. So they actually grew a path around two of the pulmonary veins, come to the heart, right over the street. So it's pretty remarkable. You can do it. No disrespect. And Alison, do you want to add to that?
No, just that if you want to actually try teleoperating robots, both Howie and I have demonstrations over here that you can actually see how easy it is and intuitive it is to learn to use systems like this.
Any other questions? Okay. Thank you all once again for attending. Again, there are demonstrations here. We encourage you to, if you have time, to take a look. And the panelists will be around here for a few minutes as well if you have any further questions. Thank you.